that coming in, and this entire offense needs to change. But then again, too, like you said, think back at the beginning of the season and when the Buckeyes made the different decision. How many people were like, "What, JT Barrett? What are they going to do over here? Oh, the season's over." And so again, I'm interested very much. But Charles in the chat room's got a great point. It's easy for us to talk about what the Buckeyes are going to do offensively. They've done it all season long. No matter who the opponent is, the Buckeyes have shown the ability, as you said, to run the ball. They've got great ability to do that, as well as all the weapons variously through the air, no matter who's delivering them the ball. I want to start defensively because clearly that's where everybody's focus is going to be when you're on this game. And you and I talked about Coleman a couple of weeks ago, and a couple of these backs that have gotten it going against the Buckeyes defense. And well, there's one on the other side here coming up this weekend that has gotten it going against everybody in his career.
Yeah,
you know
he's pretty good, isn't he, Jerry? You're right. I think all the focus on Cardale Jones ignores the fact or forgets that maybe the key to the game is Melvin Gordon and how the Buckeyes are able to match up with him.
Absolutely.
I've heard some people say over the last couple of days that, here's Gordon. He's averaging about 188 yards a game, I believe, is that number. If you can just hold Melvin Gordon to 150 yards, you've got a good chance to win the game. It sounds crazy, but that's really not a bad number to shoot for. You can hold him 30, 40 yards under his per-game average. That might not be bad. And really, you can't really have an expectation that the Buckeyes would do much better than that, having watched how some of these good backs like David Cobb and Tevin Coleman have torn them up over the last few weeks. So, you've got to make sure, you don't want him to get any 90-yard runs. You'd like to have him break off a 20 or a 30 here and there, but taking it to the house from his own, 15-yard line. That's the kind of stuff that you just maybe can't bounce back from.
You know what, though? The Buckeyes, one of the few teams that have defensively performed well against Gordon and the Badgers there. Last time they met, 104 yards for the team. Gordon was held to 74 yards without a run over 20, and it's the only team that has had that success holding Wisconsin that low in the last two seasons. So Buckeyes defense has shown the ability to play against these guys last year.
True, and this year there is no Jared Abbrederis out there for them, and they've got some wide receivers, but nobody that keeps your wake nights before the game. And I think that you're obviously going to be concentrating on Gordon and trying to shut that down. But the way the Buckeyes have played recently defensively with some of the linebacker, some tackling in the secondary or at your safety positions, certainly there's reason to worry that Gordon could break one or two or three and really hurt you. So to me, it's going to be a matter of the linebacking play and just being in the right gaps and taking good angles and making solid tackles when you do get a shot. The Melvin Gordon of this year, by the way, I think it's hard to compare him to Melvin Gordon last year, let alone 2 years ago. He's just improved so much, and then he didn't really have the penchant for breaking the long runs over the last couple of years. This year, he's just gone wild. Confidence and strength and better vision and just experience just makes him a much better player this year than what we've seen the last couple of seasons. So he obviously is the big worry in the game. It's going to be hard, I think. I think if the Buckeyes can score 24 to 27 points, they're going to win this football game. Wisconsin's defense is underrated as well. They're very strong. They keep coming up with linebackers that just are great tacklers, and they just are fundamentally sound. They're in the right place at the right time, and they've got some more. These guys are no names. I can't even bring the names to mind as we speak. They've got a really good tight end on that team. I know Arneson, which I love, but they keep coming up with ways to stop you on defense. They frustrated the Buckeyes 2 years ago, and we went into overtime with them. They shut this Buckeye offense down. I don't think the Buckeyes crossed midfield in the second half until the overtime came up. I don't think they got a first down in the second half against Wisconsin until the overtime. So they're capable of really stuffing a running game, and I believe that's their plan to try to force Cardale Jones to beat him throwing the ball.
I'm with you. I think that's the game plan all day long, is to pile it up and make him go out there with that arm, as we just said. And hopefully we're right, and he will be able to go out there and do that. Because if so, I think the Buckeyes have a very solid chance here. And with Gordon, too, and you can look at this as one of two ways. He's definitely warming up down the stretch. I saw a stat that he's got 40% of his season's yards have come in the last 4 weeks. That's a big chunk, and he's been picking it up as he's gone on. But his workload the last 2 weeks, 60 carries, 350 yards. So you may be getting a guy who's just getting into peak form. You know, some guys, hey, give me the ball and I'll just keep going. But you could keep that into the backside as well, that perhaps you're getting to the back end of a heavy workload, and perhaps that plays into the Buckeyes' favor too.
Yeah, that's true. And don't forget Corey Clement, who would be starting for an awful lot of football teams, is coming off the bench to spell Gordon, and he is a load to bring down too. And got the same kind of different runner, a little bit more of a power back, I think, than Gordon is, but a very capable player. And Gordon could benefit from the fast track there, but I think on balance, Jerry, that the indoor surface and the artificial turf is going to favor the faster team in this game, and that would be Ohio State. I like the fact that they're playing indoors and that they're playing on a fast track, because the Buckeyes, I think, on balance, are the faster group on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, and don't forget, too, Gordon's got the banged-up ankle. Even though it's a sprain, clearly he's a tough guy. It's not going to stop him from playing here in the championship game, but keep that in mind as well, too, as this thing plays out. But, yeah, the fast track being indoor there at Lucas Oil Stadium. Man, what's up with Indianapolis? They're just determining our fates here this weekend. We got the Buckeyes going there to Indianapolis. Meanwhile, the Colts are vacating and coming here to play the Browns. So, I don't know, man. Our fate. I thought Buffalo had a weird tie into our fate. He's definitely got a weird tie. I don't think Brian Hoyer will ever be visiting the city of Buffalo as a vacation site anytime soon. Buffalo has nearly ended his football career twice now. But Indianapolis may wreak some havoc on the Browns and Buckeyes this weekend, the city in general.
Yeah, that's true. Just a little bit of a coincidence there, and Brian Hoyer. At least if Brian Hoyer vacations in Buffalo, probably won't be doing it in December.
No offense to anybody,
which is a wise policy for all of us.
I don't know who vacations in Buffalo. I'm not offending anybody. I'm just saying it's not a vacation site per se. So I don't know why I said that, but I can just say that even if you guys had the Ritz and a beach and pretty women all over, I still don't think you're making Hoyer's list. He doesn't care too much for what's happened with Buffalo.
Well, they do have a beach, but it's much like ours here on the North Coast. It's
I know.
And it is a tourist destination because they got Niagara Falls nearby. But and the birthplace of buffalo wings.
That's right.
I always say that my mother-in-law used to live in Buffalo, so I would go there as little as possible. But when I did go there, that's where I first got introduced to real buffalo wings, and no place makes them better. So it's worth it to go to Buffalo just for the wings.
No, yeah, for sure, man. I've done a lot over the years wrestling up there. I've got friends that live up there as we speak, and I was just having some fun with the people in Buffalo there. Speaking of Buffalo, by the way, they are taking things seriously. I saw that they've canceled that contract for the out of town the Toronto once a season regular season game. Maybe they are gonna focus on keeping things Buffalo there for the Bills. Man, I just noticed that here this morning looking at the notes. Hey, before I shift off, I want to ask you about the Bucks hoops, but what do you got on this game, man? Time to put it down here. What do you think happens? Do the Buckeyes go take care of business here and then leave it up to the committee? And as well, what kind of win do you think they need to make their case, regardless of what else happens? What do they need to do to make their best statement for being one of the Final Four?
I think that we are a little bit beyond the style points here, Jerry. I think that the W is the most important thing. I think maybe as much as anything, they need to dispel the doubt that Cardale Jones is your run-of-the-mill third-string quarterback, or not the doubt, the feeling, the perception that Jones is just a third-string guy, the next guy up. He needs to play well. Even if the Buckeyes win by, a field goal, if Cardale Jones has a good day, and Cardale Jones, looks comfortable and drives the team and puts points on the board, and dispels any doubts that the committee might have that the Buckeyes are a much lesser team with him at quarterback. That's what needs to happen, more so than margin of victory, in my opinion. And I also think, based on what we said earlier, with TCU being at number 3 and having pretty much of a cakewalk, that one of those other 3 teams is going to have to lose. Buckeyes have no shot if they don't get a Georgia Tech upset of Florida State, or seeing Oregon lose in their title game against Arizona. I don't think there's a whole lot of hope that Alabama is going to fall to Missouri. I don't see that happening. But I think for the Buckeyes to make it, not only do they have to win, and just win, with an impressive Cardale Jones, but Oregon or who am I, drawing a blank on that. Oregon or Florida State is going to have to lose. So both things have to happen, but Buckeyes got to take care of it. I think Urban Meyer wants this game badly. He's been here 3 years. He hasn't won a Big Ten title yet. He hasn't won a Big Ten championship game. He wants this one badly. And I'll go with Urban Meyer in this game on Saturday. And I don't know if he could do it with Jalen Marshall playing quarterback the whole game for him. But I think he can win the game with Cardale Jones.
Yeah, I think the Bucks take this one too, as long as they're able to get some production from Jones, not just with his legs, but if they make the Buckeyes one-dimensional, then may the best team win. But if they're able to do that, and if obviously they're able to contain Gordon and not let offensively anybody else beat you, then I think the Buckeyes win this one too. Looking at those 3, teams that you need to lose there, I mean, I don't know. I'm just looking. Alabama and Mizzou there. You got, Florida State and Georgia Tech and Arizona and Oregon. And I don't know which one I think is even more likely than the other to happen. What does your gut tell you, man? Which one of those do you think
my money would be on Georgia Tech beating Florida State.
There we go.
Georgia Tech has a very, very good team, and I think that's going to be a very good game. And of those 3 games, certainly I think even though Arizona has already beaten Oregon, that's Oregon's loss.
Yeah,
it's hard to beat them twice. And
we know that. Yeah.
I just think Georgia Tech over the Seminoles, I look at as the best chance for a spot to open up in that playoff.
Yep, I'm with you. And no matter what, as we said, none of that matters. Buckeyes have to take care of their business first. Actually, let's see. By the time they get out there and play, 8:17 kickoff, Alabama's game will be in the books. Their game is at 4 o'clock. And then Florida State and Georgia Tech starting just a few minutes before the Buckeyes, and then the other game starts about an hour later. So the Buckeyes will know the result of one, and they'll be playing at the same time as the other, and then they'll be done, and they'll watch. Perhaps they may even be watching their fate be decided by the end of that Arizona and Oregon game there when they wrap it up. But going to be interesting. It'll be a lot of fun Saturday night in Indianapolis, and then the Colts come here. Real quick, I didn't even ask you. What happens in that one? Do you think that the Browns somehow keep this season going? Do they? I will say this. The only thing that I do say in the Browns' favor for this weekend, defensively, good luck keeping up with that Colts offense. But on the flip side, defensively, the Colts can be carved up. We've seen teams be able to have success. What the Browns do does play well into what the Colts do on defense, the running, the play action, then finding guys open in the secondary there. I do think the Browns will have a chance to be successful offensively against this team, no matter who it is. I think that Indianapolis's defense will play into the Browns' strengths. I just don't know how you shut down that offense of Andrew Luck and those guys enough. So that worries me. But I don't know. What is your thoughts?
Well, I like the idea of getting an indoor team at our place in December. Maybe our best shot there. The Colts aren't quite the team outdoors as they are indoors and are on the road as they are at home. So that said, I'm not optimistic about this week. I'm on record with you saying I think they're going to win one of their last 4, and frankly, I don't think this is it. So if I gun to my head, I'm predicting the Colts will come out on top. Obviously, glad to be wrong, hoping to be wrong.
Dan Wismar from the Cleveland Fan, J-Rock doing the thing here. We'll see again, too. I'm with you, man. Love to be sitting here on Monday going, well, It's a 3-game race now, and 2 of them are in the division. Let's see what happens. And if not, hey, we'll be having, like we said, a different conversation on Monday.